up along the top of your screens. Should be there just now. I post all of my classes to a YouTube channel that I have created where everything that I am doing is running along there. So I do highly recommend you guys check that out. If you ever have any repeats that you want to watch, I will blast out today's class to everybody whose email is available in the meeting window. So I'll go ahead and make sure I send you guys a little recap of that. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to open right up to CB Desk. Obviously, CB Desk is where all of our tools are located. And the ones we're going to focus on in this session are the MarketQuest tool and Prospect Square tool. So I went ahead and moved those right up here into my top right because I knew I was going to grab them right away. So what do these tools do? Well, MarketQuest specifically is a reporting tool that grabs MLS data and aggregates it for you. Very simple. Prospect Square does a very similar thing, but is crafted to be a bit more specific to housing data, broken into just things that include single-family homes as well as condos and townhomes. MarketQuest will allow you to expand that to things beyond that. And Prospect Square also has several layers where it talks about from a quarterly view of a county down to a monthly view of a specific city. Some terms that I'm going to cover real quick that I will go over that are important in regards to just overall having a basic 100 standing of some of the stuff we're talking about today. One that you guys will read and will use a lot, as well as hear your clients talk about a lot, is the mean. A mean is basically an average. It is you take all of the numbers in a set that you are looking at, add them together, and divide by the total of the numbers on the list to get a mean. The median is exactly what it sounds like. It is the middle. If your example is you take, 10 homes and you line them up by lowest value to highest value, the number in the middle, or the average of the two numbers in the middle, is your median. And the mode, think of that as frequency. The mode is it's not often brought up in a real estate discussion, but if anyone ever asks, what you are looking at when you're looking at the mode is a number that occurs most frequently in a series. So if we lined up 1, 3, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 10, 6 would be the mode because it appears most frequently. Those are just my vocabulary terms I wanted to cover. Let's dive into MarketQuest, where we kind of look at some of the bigger picture things that we want to see. So MarketQuest is, as I said, in your CB desk, and will give you tons of great tools that you can use, again, to leverage data to give to your clients. And a big thing you'll hear me say that I want to front load with this is that market data very much should be a tool that you use to make sure your client sees value in you as a knowledge base and a resource for this kind of information. Layman's terms, never give away the farm. What you want to do is make sure that your client knows that not only are you a valued source for this data in a very accurate means because you work for the largest real estate company there is, and we take great pride in aggregating all of our data as accurately as possible through various sources, which you can see always are reported down here. Most of them are coming from the local MLS because that's what the MLS is for. And it will allow you to then be that, like I said, that knowledge base. You want to give them the data, more importantly, know how to guide them through it. I'm going to walk you guys through all this stuff today. A lot of this stuff is really written on these reports themselves. So it's really important to practice by sending yourself reports, role play with family and friends as a prospective client, because your clients will almost never read these. They will look at the pretty pictures and then expect you to articulate what is important to them for their situation. So let's look at what some of these reports look like. So MarketQuest is going to open up. Default single family, townhome, and condo are going to be what is turned on. You can also add mobile homes, lot, land, and farm, commercial, and multifamily. Property types, REO, non-REO, all. You have a price range filter, a date range filter. I'm just going to keep the last 12 months in here for ease purposes. Group by, this range is only for the market share. And as you'll see down here, there are three different reports. The market action report is given in two different forms, a dynamic and an HTML, which works better for email. Get to that in a sec. The market share is obviously going to tell you by brand, broker, or office how much market share we had in whatever county you are looking at. Sorry, I should say area. I am looking at counties right now. You can also, as you see an area type, filter this by MLS area. You can filter it by city. You can filter it by school districts. You can filter it by subdivisions. And everything that you want to look at will pop up right in this field down here, where you will then add it to your search. So let's say I want to look at Santa Cruz and Monterey County, because that's where I operate and that's where my prospective client wants information of. So I'm going to go to Santa Cruz and move that over, and then I'm going to go to M for Monterey and move that over by clicking on that little arrow, and you can see everything that's being included is what is going to be in the report. If you leave the right-hand box empty, you will view all areas. I am going to start by looking at this market action report. I'm going to click market action, and presto, we're going to get a full report. This is obviously March 2020. You can see from the very top, you can choose to show your trends as arrows, which is the default. I like to show trends as values, and that way you can see the actual percentages notated for each of the market trend overview values you are looking at. You've also got the option up top to hide price per square foot. You can include data tables in the printout, which is already on. And you can also separate inventory, new listings, and sales graph in the PDF version. If you wanted to export this as a PDF, you would just click right there. And then obviously return to search will take you back to the menu we were at before. So let's look at this before we get into there. Modify header. If this information here is incorrect, go ahead and make any updates you need right here. Hit save. If the photo is incorrect, reach out to your SSA or your field marketing specialist, and they will update the photo in CB Desk, which will update the photo in the system. First things you're going to see in the action report are the trends overview. Obviously, you've got everything notated for what the item you are looking at is. So, for example, the median price of all current listings is about $1 million in these two counties. Median meaning if we lined up all of the homes in Santa Cruz and Monterey County from low to high and looked at the number in the middle, what we're looking at is $1 million. That is a 0% change over last month and a 8% increase over the same month prior year. You've got all of your items are listed down here at the bottom as a reference to what the trending versus items are listed up top here. So it's essentially it's a table. Lets you know LM stands for last month, L3M last 3 months, DYM same month prior year, LY last year, YTD is year to date. Property sales. This is our next section. This is where you start to get into a much more traditional graph reading and statistics space. Just again, this is a 100 course to review how do you want to read these and how do you want to make sure you your client's going to want to read them if you are going over this information with them. Your y-axis, your vertical axes, which are either running along the left. Sometimes you can have two running along the right. Those are often going to represent quantities, dollars, units, things like that. Along the x-axis, which runs on the bottom, you've often got time. But always refer to your graph to see what units you are working with. And if there are any keys to help with any other things like a trend line, which is mapped here. This trend line, as we can see here, is the 3-month average. This is March. And what it tells you here too, what's really cool about these action reports is you actually get a little blurbed description, which is the kind of thing that your client expects you to articulate to them. But like I said, most of them aren't going to read this stuff. And if you can already speak to them and front load what's important to them before going over this with them and allow them to just look at the pictures and nod their head and view you as that trusted advisor, then your job is going swimmingly. But what this graph is telling us and what this report is telling us is that March property sales were 354. Down 10.2% from 394 in March of 2019, and 25.1% higher than the 283 sales last month. March 2020 sales were at their lowest level compared to March 2019 and 2018. March year-to-date sales of 925 are running 5.7 behind last year's year-to-date sales of 981. And again, when we're looking at this graph, what we're looking at is on the, looks like someone isn't muted. I'm going to go ahead in here and just mute all again. What we're looking at here is your months are along the bottom. So this is April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January, where 18 starts. You've got units running along the left. And if you pick any specific point, you can see May of 18, there were 534 units moved. Same thing when you move to the next graph, right? We're going to go and look at what our values are, which are our units and time. And then we've got four actually different trend lines we're looking at. The darkest blue is our median sales. 3-month average median sales is the black line, meaning our blue line is a graph of the middle price for sales in any given month along this graph and how many of those units were sold, or the sale of those units. The black line is a 3-month average of that median value. The average sold price is this baby blue, turquoisey, darker than the blue behind it. You've got an average sold price line, and that's obviously the average sold price, again, for the 2 counties I am looking in, broken down by month. And then the baby blue one behind it is a 3-month average of that sold price, which is why those averages are starting 3 months into the graph. And again, what this graph tells us is the median sales price in March was $725,000. So what we're looking at is median sales price right here, just above that 700 mark. It's up 11% from the previous year and down 1.4% from last month. Obviously, this will continue through the rest of the system, but here's the first one where you've got two different axis points, right? You've got a value on the right, which is giving us our MSI. Sorry, the trend line is our MSI. Sorry. So you've got your total inventory of properties along the left. Again, time along the right. And then your right axis is the number of months needed to sell that inventory. So this is months. And then what this line gives you is, let's say if we picked March of 18, that number here, which is right around 2.5. So you would say March of 18, the average days on market for of the 985 properties on the market was about, or the average time to sell, I should say, was about 2.5. So all of these graphs, what I'm getting at, basically line up on multiple data points that you'll then leverage for whatever point of conversation you need to have. This is also part of why we don't encourage just giving this data away and letting your prospective clients filter through it and come up with wild conclusions on their own. Now, of course, everybody's knowledge base differs. Some people are really good with statistics and they will read this information and be able to run with it. In most cases, it is important for the agent to review this information and then realize, like I said before, what's going to be important for your client. Front load that information at the beginning of your discussion and go over it with them, so that way they don't get lost in the proverbial weeds of any specific sticking point that could become a counter argument to whatever you're trying to get done for the property, whether it's pricing it a certain way or advertising in certain methods because of, you know, what you see happening in the market, right? Obviously, we're in weird times given the current state of things, and that's going to now more than ever be I should say now more than ever, there's going to be a sticking point to be able to learn and speak to not only what you guys know as professionals in the business on what happens on the other side of these kind of market shifts, but what that means for things like inventory and price and how those are changing from month to month throughout this crisis and year to year over, you know, the 3 to 5 year period, if you're talking about someone making, you know, what is essentially a long-term investment when anyone's buying a home, whether it's an investment property or a family home for them. Now, like I said, this is one version of the action report that breaks down specific items related to inventory and only within the counties we chose and for the property types we chose. This gives you, like I said, a really cool printout version that you can utilize for your presentations. But let's say you're already working with someone and we're giving them an update. I'm going to go back to the search and we can look at that HTML version. And this gives you the good email friendly and easily digestible option for a client to review. As you can see, you've got email report already built in. You can include data tables if you would like. You can show trend values again, or just show them as arrows. You can include inventory and new listings and sales on a separate page in the email. And again, everything you're looking at will be broken apart and made available for your client to digest, or more importantly, for you to digest, and then look at sending them a market report that we'll review later and articulate these points to them through that system. If you wanted to customize the report, all this really does is allow you to add a email message ahead of it. So don't think of it really as customizing. If you need to, again, all of this is just your contact info. There is a new version of these that'll be launching with VNew at some point that'll have a little bit more customization, allow you to add like headers and more photos and agent logos and things like that. Those are coming, but for now, all you can do is really just add a message to it. Again, if you already have reviewed this and you know this, this, and this are what's important in these data sets for us to look at in regards to X, blah, blah, blah. Again, whatever your client is looking for, be sure to provide that solution to them and then present the data, not just give it to them and allow them to filter through, or as a prospecting means, send it out and presume that they're going to understand why today is a great opportunity to list, because you can see that inventory is low and money is cheap. And that means, and we know that prices haven't changed over the last quarter. They're not going to pull all that information out on their own. They're going to expect you to articulate to them. Again, this is a spot where you can do that. Hitting save will have it all prepped. Hitting email report will bring up your email system. I think mine's just going to be super laggy because it is the middle of the afternoon. Oh, email has sent. Awesome. So it should email it to yourself, which will allow you to then customize it and send it out. Let me see. This should be it. Awesome. And then you can take this and forward it out to whomever you would like to send it to. And the email that it went to, and the reason I knew it was coming to my email is because it's whatever email you are using on your office's distribution list. Fun fact, if you wanted to know where that's being sent to, that is that. Now we're going back to the search. That's going to give you the market action trends. I'm going to click on that. Market trends are like it sounds. It is a topic partially covered in the action report. And what this gives you is in all of that range we were looking at, you've got the average price of sold properties versus the average price of listed properties. Average sold are going to be in the dark blue, average list in the light blue. You can add a trend line by clicking on that button. Black is sold price trend, which is obviously holding very steady over the course of the last 12 months, and the average list price is slightly climbing. But again, these stats end at the beginning of March. We will see how those update over time. If I check show all series data, it will give you the entire data table right underneath. You can also change to, instead of sold average price, I can make it list average price. I can look at expired or canceled. I can look at accepted offers. I can look at new listings, right? There's all kinds of data if you wanted to go in here and parse. Number 2 point, you could have list price average. I could have sold median price. I could be looking at new listings versus sold listings. Again, export to PDF will allow you to export this data out, and return to search will bring you back to the main field. And the market share icon is what this section applies to. We'll group market share in this example by broker. Again, we're looking at the range, my 2 counties, And that's how you would generate those reports. And again, all this tells us is, as you can see in the data, this is going to account for just sold listings that were on the market. So anything in MLS, things that were sold out of MLS won't be represented here. You can also show these as a percentage. You can show them as units. You can show them as volume dollars. So there's all kinds of great ways, again, you can export these as PDFs, import them into your own reports, and manipulate them from there. I am really running tight on time. I'm going to go ahead and check. I saw a couple of questions come into the chat. And then I'm going to quickly go into the Prospect Square. Is there a way to get a link to a regional report for the InTouch website or social media, or a local report? When you say a report for the websites or social media, do you mean like analytics back on your website's performance as well as your social media performance? Because if that is the question, not really. Now, the website analytics are made available if you have for example, through InTouch, right? InTouch makes their website analytics available to the user. So whoever you are using for your website should be able to provide you with that data. In regards to social media traffic, Facebook Pixel and Google Analytics are going to be the only real accounts that you can set up to track that kind of activity and the kind of exposure you are getting. That is a whole other topic that we could get into in another session. But both Google Analytics and Pixel can be integrated to InTouch, so you can have all of those analytics tracked in one report. Your website, your social media in regards to Facebook and Instagram, as well as your overall exposure trends, all hubbed in InTouch. Now, it is already 4 o'clock. I am going to quickly dive into the other spot where we can grab market data. We've gone over, how to read this data, what you can say about it. The market action reports, like I said, very much cover the MLS and in that case, the county as a whole. Now, what if we want to get into something a little bit more specific to your guys and their clients? What we will do is go into Prospect Square. And in Prospect Square, we've got this report section. In reports, we've got 3 different items. Quarterly reports, which is that 30,000 view snapshot I'm going to start at. Area reports, which are sub-reports included in quarterly reports. So you can use the analytics you get back from a user. Let's say I sent a Monterey County quarterly report out to a client, and I noticed that they view specific cities within that county. I can send those cities' area reports to that client so they can see what they look, so they can get a little bit more focused view, and you can be a little bit more proactive rather than reactive to your clients. Now, I said a lot there. What does that mean? Quarterly reports, right? I'm going to go right into preview and share because these are already company made, just like the area reports. And I'm just going to click on preview. All of the information that is in these reports is in your profile. If your profile is not up to date, neither will the headers or footers of these reports. I'm just going to click this little preview icon, and we can see what's going out. Right now, the reports are from Q1 of 2020. There's my information, and it's all set. And boom, it starts right off with a market snapshot. Again, this is the quarterly report looking at Monterey County. And what we can see here is you've got 2 sets of units. For example, number of sales, 521 in Q1 of 2019 versus 467 Q1 of 2020. So that's a change of overall 10% less. New listings, average days on market, average sale, all of this stuff is included here, and it's broken up. Single family homes on top, condos and townhomes on bottom. Real estate snapshot. This gives you a full breakdown of the trends like we were looking at in the other report, but now sub-broken by single family homes and condos and townhomes on the system here and gives you all of those trends quarterly. And again, as you're viewing these reports, these are all Monterey County. Here we are at a graph again. How we want to view this? First thing we're going to do is look at what are we looking at here. Bottom is time, sales are on the right, inventory is on the left. So if I look at Q3 of 18, you could see that this black line accounts for sales. So we were looking at a listing inventory of around 800 and a sales number of about, somewhere between 750 and 8. And the sales number actually hit somewhere right in the 700 region. You've got also a lovely number of helpful little question marks. Click on any of those and it's going to give you a little breakdown of the graph like I just did to remind you of what you're looking at and how you can articulate it best. That exists for everything in this system. And again, all of these reports can either be emailed to clients or sent out in the or printed out, I should say, as a PDF that you can then bring to a meeting or bring to a presentation or anything like that to have as an asset to aid you in conversation. Now, as we're looking, as I said, through all of this system, everything is county based. And then once you get past the county information, you're going to see this additional report section for Monterey County. As I go into this section, here's where all of the area reports exist. So when I was talking about the analytics coming back, if I had sent this to a client and they clicked on monthly reports or quarterly reports for Carmel, Monterey, and Marina, you would be able to see that and then send them area reports that give them the same kind of data broken down, but just for that specific area. So what does that mean? It means if I go into area reports, we can see, of course, this starts at a county level. I'm going to hit preview and share, and you can see everything now broken down by overall properties, the just condos and townhomes, and then just single family homes. Obviously, this is a big list. You can hit find to break that down to a smaller subsection. I'm going to hit search, and that will bring me to, like I said, you've got everything broken down by overall, then just single family homes or just condos and townhomes if that's what's available. And just to give you guys a quick glimpse of what this looks like, let's go into Old Town Monterey. And that's not great because there's not a lot of action. Let's go into here we go. And as you can see, you get the same kind of snapshot data, same types of graphs, all the little helpful tools, just in case you're not 100% sure what the data might articulate, how you can break those down. And everything, again, is for that specific region. Now, the only other types of reports in this system are market reports, which are reports that you can build for a specific client based on criteria, or not just a specific client, but to a group of clients, if you'd like to send to multiple, based on a set of criteria that you add into the system, whether it be, using a radius around a subject property and then only including homes priced within a certain field, or only including homes that are single story or what have you, to really cut that market data to a specific section of homes. And that is our data sources. I'm going to go ahead and open up for questions. Sorry for running a little bit long, but let's go ahead and see what we've got in here. First question is, where do I find reports on desk? So that first set of reports that I was talking about is in MarketQuest. So if I go back to my desk, MarketQuest is that first tile I was in that gives you the MLS data. Prospect Square is that second tile I was in, and that gives you home and market data already generated for quarterly and area reports. Those are nice, easy grab and goes, as well as market data that you can generate specifically for a client on a specific region. Um, Again, the importance being you want to be able to make sure you are that wealth of information for clients. Let's see.
How does
Maybe I should. Oh,
MarketQuest differ? How does MarketQuest differ from the Prospect Square?
MarketQuest is much broader. You really can't uh, like the quarterly reports, right? Like I said, that starts at a 30,000-foot view of a county and will then zoom in from there, and you can look at specific areas. Then you can look at specific areas just at condos and townhomes within that area. The MarketQuest is just going to give you MLS data trends for sales and listing data over a time period that you include, but it's not going to delve any deeper than that. It's just for broad trends in regards to the like the four criteria that come out of that, which are like averages, medians, and then like the price changing trends. But things in regards to like individual homes and townhome sales and units and uh, what those changes are, not just, over the course of a year or 6 months or whatever your range is, but over the course of, 5 years or things like that. That's where you'll see a lot more of the home data kind of aggregated is in the Prospect Square side. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Feel free to email me if you had any additional questions and I can follow up. And then let's see. Next, I see I got another one in the area report. I cannot see San Mateo County. Teresa, if that is the case, reach out to the help desk and have them open a ticket. I will put my email address right here in the chat. There we go. Teresa, can you not hear me? Can everybody else hear me? Do we have to register separately for MarketQuest? The app won't open on my desk. If the app isn't opening on your desk, that is another help desk issue. Reach out to them ASAP, and they should be able to work that out. As long as your IDX feed is working properly, your MarketQuest tool should be working properly as well. Any other questions I can answer for the group? I hope everybody found this informative. This is kind of a new class. This is the first time I'm teaching it. So I just put this together last week. Thank you guys for being the first trial of this data sources class and allowing me to kind of refine it a little bit.
Thank you.
Are these postable to SM? Like social media, correct? Oh, okay. So Molly, see when I saw SM, I went San Mateo at first because the question above yours was about San Mateo County. Posting these to social media. This is where it gets tricky, right? Because the quick links can be shared to like Facebook, or you can add them to your bio in an Instagram or to LinkedIn or things like that. But again, it comes down to what's the ask, right? Why would we want to give away this data when we know that those that can understand it will take it and run, and those that don't won't. We don't know necessarily that they'll go to you to get those answers. What I would do is, if you guys make a habit of reviewing these monthly, find interesting statistical points to mention and maybe make a snapshot of that, graph, like pull that graph out of the report, and make a social media post about that. Like if we noticed for example, there's a great Forbes article. I think I'm still sharing my screen. Awesome. So let me go to that. There's a really cool article that I was looking at earlier. And again, when we talk about, using these sources, this was a real basic level on like where you would find that stuff and how you would handle digesting some of that information. Your managers are a great resource to talk to in broader senses too about what this data means for your market specifically, but also leverage bigger resources too, things like Inman, Forbes, Business Insider, whatever it may be, to keep an eye out on what the public perception also is about the industry as well. And there's one thing that I got this from an article yesterday. Despite currently slow activity in the real estate market, which is prompting sellers to pull out listings in a time of year that would have otherwise charted a busy home buying season, prices remain unscathed. According to the NAR, at 280,600, the median existing home price in March, again, this is nationally, stood 8% higher than a year ago, marking 97 straight months of annual gains. That is something that can be of huge value to your clients to know, especially those that are on the fence about selling, or those that are starting to have second thoughts or misconceptions about what they're hearing. And again, how you leverage some of these data sources that CB is giving you to better articulate your points will, again, provide cement, I should say, that view of you as that knowledge base and wealth of information to your clients, and open new doors when it comes time to, we talk about how do we push beyond that client to +1, is you continue to be that resource, share those big tips and tidbits of information here and there, and start to grow beyond the existing client, because they can readily recommend you as the, if you've got a question about the market or about the community, reach out to so-and-so. I am going to repeat my question. If we want to feature a market report link on our website, how do we acquire a link that automatically updates? So anything you get out of Prospect Square, those links that I was showing a preview of, those are dynamic. So if I go into a quarterly report, let's say I want to add the Santa Cruz County quarterly report to my website and have it ready to view in the San Mateo section, Santa Cruz section of my communities. There's a share tool that I clicked on, which does give you a bunch of quick go-to shares for things like social media and things like that. And again, these links that come out of here, so as you can see, that generates the report. I clicked on Facebook, it'll generate it right there. Or you can grab the link from right here. This link is dynamic. So anytime anyone clicks on it, or anytime you resend it, or basically anytime anyone reopens it, it will update to the most recent version. Quarterly reports usually update midway the second month of the new quarter. Monthly reports usually update mid-month of the next month. Are there any other questions I can answer? Let's see. So that link in Prospect Square will be okay 6 months from now if I put it on. Yes, that link from Prospect Square will be good until you are no longer with Coldwell Banker. It will constantly update.
How do the monthly and quarterly reports differ?
Monthly reports don't go backwards. So the quarterly reports distill down to a area report, and then you can view a monthly readout of data in a quarterly report. A monthly report or an area report won't go back out to a county or quarterly view. Does that make sense?
Not sure.
So if you think of the quarterly reports are a data breakdown of everything that happened within the quarter, as well as it includes all of the monthly reports for all of the regions within that quarterly report. The monthly area reports won't include any of the broader data. It will just include the monthly data for that specific area you're looking at.
So you wouldn't send both to the same people?
You would, like I said, in my example, I would always recommend you start with the quarterly report, because then in the now in on my account, I'm not sending these to anybody, so I don't have any analytics in here. But when you went to analytics and clicked on that, you can get analytics not just for the Prospect Square account as a whole, but you can break that down to your quarterly reports, your area reports, and clients for life to see who's opening what, how many people are dropping off of what, how many of these emails have bounced, what the click-through rate is, and then start to, like for clients for life, tailor the emails to be a little bit more towards your audience to make sure you can really increase that number to increase the warm marketing that's going on. And for quarterly reports, for example, you can look at that and see, okay, Joe client, I sent him the quarterly report for Santa Cruz County, and over the last 2 weeks, now it's been 2 weeks, I went back into the analytics, and it looks like in Santa Cruz County, he's looked at Santa Cruz proper and Prunedale, and that's it, and only at those monthly reports. So then you can then use that knowledge to then email out just the area reports or the monthly reports for those two regions and say, hey, I sent you a quarterly report a couple of weeks ago. I noticed that these were the only two regions you were focusing on. So I thought I would kind of cut out all of that fat and just send you a distilled version of these two reports. If you've got any further questions about these, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than welcome to help you kind of sift through this data to figure out what's important for you.
Great, thank you.
So just like in any marketing campaign, all of these things should have a call to action built back. And that's what I was leaning on at the beginning. Don't give away the farm. Make sure there's some reason that they see, that by they, I mean clients, see that they must reach out to you to better understand the information herein. And you are that resource to them. Therefore, when they need to recommend somebody, you are again that resource they recommend. Any other questions that I can answer for anybody? You guys have been fantastic. I will send out a recap to everybody in the system. It does have a survey attached to it. I do appreciate if everyone gets a few moments to briefly fill that out. I don't see them. They go right to the management team. And we greatly appreciate, me as well as the rest of my field marketing team, greatly appreciate any feedback anyone can offer. I will hold about 25 more seconds for more questions. All right, with that being said, I know that wasn't really 25 seconds, but it doesn't seem like there's anything coming through. You are welcome for everybody saying thank you. I do appreciate that. Like I said, if you get a chance to take the survey, I would really appreciate it. I will send out actually the link to this recording. Oh, wait, an area report. I cannot see San Mateo County. Teresa, reach out to the help desk and let them know. Oh, I just lost my, oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. So reach out to the help desk. Let them know that you are in Prospect Square and you can't see San Mateo County, and they'll be able to figure out what's going on in the back end and get that fixed for you. So help desk, Genevieve was kind enough to put the number in the chat, and go ahead and give them a call. Where was I? Oh yeah, I'll send out the recap as well as the link to that article from Forbes that I showed you guys. Lean on your managers, lean on your team. You guys are part of a brokerage that is ever shifting to make sure you guys can get through this. Utilize these resources. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me or your local marketing specialist or SSA. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy. Have a great week, and I will see you in my next session if you care to join. I will be conducting this one again tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday I am doing a YouTube 100, kind of a basics on setting up a YouTube page. If you want to register for that, it is in Sales Pro. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.